I am joined now by Glenn Beck. He has a brand new special coming up tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's Warning, the sinister plan to hijack Trump's deportations. Don't miss that. It's coming up tonight. Glenn, how's it going?
Well, good. We don't get a chance to use the word sinister very often unless it's in like a cartoon. So we thought we would use that in the title.
And you also worked a capital warning into the title today. So in case people weren't warned.
He's got to be. I mean, warning labels don't, Warning labels just don't have it in fine print.
Right.
Warning, and then Surgeon General. Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. That's true. No one reads that second part. You just know it's warned.
Ow. Whoa.
Is this going to cover? You going to go after the court battle to stop these deportations? What's the focus?
No, the focus really is what I think is their next real move, and that is we're seeing. I think it was Swalwell that said this week, this is only the beginning, and we have to do what we've done before, but take it to the next level. Well, he was talking about in response to, abusing ICE agents and forcing your way into a facility in a completely unrational way. And we have already seen them ratchet up the language and the pieces of violence. I'll show you tonight, but we're showing you the things that they're doing right now in just little pieces, and they may seem disconnected, but I don't believe they are. I think they're all connected to a larger plan, which is hit the streets. I don't know when, but it might be this summer. Hit the streets soon.
I just hope Swalwell's not looking to take having sex with Chinese spies to the next level, because that would be, we don't want to.
Well, he's already done that at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he already did that. It's hard to be at a higher level of betrayal than he's already hit. But.
Yeah, he's the expert. Let me move on to the Biden stuff that's been going on this week. We played some of the Megyn Kelly audio earlier, and I think she did a great job going after him, holding him accountable. I think his answers were pretty much fine. But I do worry that this is turning into a Jake Tapper story, and there's so much else going on here, including the fact that we didn't have a president for multiple years as a country. I feel like that should be more of our focus.
Yeah, but I mean, Whoopi will tell you what difference does that make? I outlined this in, I think in hour 3, a pretty intense monologue in hour 3 in the podcast today. It matters a great matters, and telling your country that you don't even know today who they are, let alone at the time, but you don't know who they are even today. That's a problem. That's not a democracy. That's not a republic. I don't know what that is, other than possible treason, but definitely illegal. But we have to know who those people are, so we stop it. And the Jake Tapper thing, I'm just amazed that, if you and I had strong inklings that Donald Trump was not all there, and we saw it firsthand, but then the White House was blocking us from any information. We couldn't get any information. And Donald Trump's team, their response was to absolutely flamethrow, destroy anyone who said, hey, that doesn't look right. Is he okay? If we ignored that, or we're talking about it amongst ourselves, but we never said it and we never pursued it. And then we came out with a book and wrote about it later and go, gee, it looks like they were right. Do you think we'd get the same reception Jake Tapper's getting?
No, I mean, maybe the same reception for Megyn Kelly that he got, but yes, not as far as the overall media landscape. I think you're right. Yeah. It's been interesting to watch it happen. I mean, I'll give you a real concrete example of this, Glenn, that both of us are on record on, which was Mitch McConnell should have stepped down after his multiple freezes in front of America. That shouldn't have continued. He shouldn't still be in the Senate. He shouldn't have been in leadership for any longer than he was. That should have been over at the moment where that happened. And
Barbara Boxer.
Right, Barbara Boxer. Yep. I don't know. It feels like most people, at least at some level, are able to recognize this very human thing that happens to people as they age. And it's not something no one's cheering it on. No one likes that it happens. But when it happens, it's time to get out. And it doesn't seem like the media was interested in that because of, I mean, like the most basic way to say it is Trump derangement syndrome, right? Like it really, that is to the level of reality here. They wanted Trump out so badly, they just wouldn't look at this.
Yeah. Ends justify the means. And Edith Wilson is not known for what she actually did. We should have taken care of it with Edith Wilson and made an example out of her. If we would have made an example out of her, maybe it wouldn't have happened later with other presidents. And if we don't take care of it this time, the next president, it'll be worse. If they can get away with anything and literally take the power away from the president, that was a coup that we saw. And while he's in office, just auto pen things that he said on interviews. I didn't sign that. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do that. Yes, you did, Mr. President, today. Well, was that because he's so incompetent, or is that because he didn't do it? There was some other shadow team that was just signing executive orders. If we don't stop that, it's only going to get worse. And at some point, you just do have Mussolini. That's it.
You brought up Edith Wilson, the hot wife of Woodrow Wilson, who kind of ran the country there for a while Woodrow was out on stroke leave. What's fascinating about that, you've talked many times about his favorite book, which was this book about experts running the country and the president not really being a president. It was more like this administrative state. And I mean, in a way, Edith and Woodrow got exactly what they wanted in the Biden administration. That is seemingly what was happening, at least for a couple of years.
It's exactly what happens. That's why they didn't need the president. They have all of the experts they need to get things done. The president was just a figurehead, somebody that the people could put their faith in. But he had nothing to do with any of that stuff. The experts were handling it. So it didn't matter what shape he was in. As long as the American people didn't find out that he was completely incompetent, they're fine. That you want to talk about a danger to democracy. That's it. And that's what was happening.
Amazing. And what do we do to stop this? Is there actually a path for some sort of accountability here, or is that just a complete pipe dream?
Let's see what happens. If you start to see some arrests, I think we're close to arrests with COVID and some people that were actually covering up. And that has a lot of money and power behind not arresting people on that. So if I start to see that in, let's say the next couple of weeks, I'll be a little more optimistic. But this is going to take Congress actually caring and the people in the country actually knowing how to make the argument to people like Whoopi. This matters. This matters. This was happening with Trump. You would have gone ape. This is not about Donald Trump. It is not about winning, losing. This is about what does it mean to be president? Do we vest that power in one man that we all voted for, or do we invest it? Do we invest it in a team of people that are not accountable to you? You don't know who they are. You don't know what they stand for. Which is it? It can only be one.
We talked about this a little bit on radio. About 20% of the presidents since Woodrow Wilson have had this type of thing where it seems like at some point they had lost it, or they died in office, this is a serious problem our country is facing. We need to figure out a way to actually stop it going forward.
We don't. We don't need to figure it out. Edith Wilson did not have the help of everybody in the White House. Okay, the people in the White House, she kept them in the dark as well. Said no, he just needs his rest. The guy couldn't move, talk, sign anything. She would just bring in the documents. She would lead the cabinet meetings, and then she'd say, I got to go talk to Woodrow. She would make copious notes, and then she would say, okay, I got to go talk to Woodrow. Then she would just write stuff that he said, and she would go back down and she'd say, okay, he wants this, 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 and this. And then they would put it into action, and he would sign, not an auto pen. She would just take his hand, put it over hers, as he would sign, as she would sign for him. That was her little thing, in her head. But the way to solve this is to punish those in the White House that knew or participated in it. It will only be solved when people are like, I can't be involved in that. I don't want to be involved in that. Back then, the Democrats, and I would say this equally on both parties, back then, the Democrats had respect and revere for the presidency, and they knew you can't get away with that. You can't do that. That destroys our Republican democracy. And so they were not helpful in that, and it was his own party that got him to leave office and ended that nightmare. But they didn't expose it. If they would have exposed it to the American people, we may not have had these other problems, later on. It has to be stopped. Exposing and punishment. Only way.
I will say, Glenn, it seems like your description of Edith Wilson's job there, putting Woodrow Wilson's hand as she was signing, kind of makes Woodrow Wilson more active in the presidency than Joe Biden was, because he had the auto pen.
Oh, yeah.
So I think.
Oh, he had the auto pen.
Yeah, I think actually.
And did you hear who was in charge? Did you hear who they put in charge? Who was in charge of the family? Hunter. In the decision-making process. Not known for his good decisions. In their right mind would do that.
Shocking. And there's still more to come on all of this. There's still more books to come out, Glenn. Glenn Beck, his new special is coming up 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. It's Warning, the Sinister Plan to Hijack Trump's Deportations. Don't miss it. Of course, the best way to watch is with your own BlazeTV account. StuDoesAmerica.com is the place to go to get that. Use the code STU. You get $20 off your annual subscription. Glenn, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.